Let me tell y'all something: respect ain't something you walk into a room and just claim like a parking spot. Respect is one of those things you gotta earn every single day. And the funny part is, it don't come from being the loudest voice, the one with the fanciest title, or even the one with the most money. Nah, respect shows up in how you carry yourself, how you treat people, and how you make folks feel when they leave your presence. Now, I know some of you sitting there thinking, man, do I need to change everything about myself to get people to respect me? Should you be worried? No. Because respect ain't about being perfect. Respect is about showing people the real you, but showing up in a way that makes him say, that right there, that's somebody I can trust. That's somebody I can follow. A life will hand you all kinds of tests. At work, at home, even at the grocery store line, when somebody got 30 coupons holding up the line. And how you handle those moments, how you control your energy, how you set your boundaries, that's where respect is built. See, I'm about to share with you 5 secrets from psychology that'll make people respect you. These ain't no gimmicks. These ain't tricks. These are things that work because they tap into how people really think, how they really connect, and what they truly admire. So before we even get started, I want you to lock this in your mind. You don't demand respect, you demonstrate it. And when you do that right, people don't just respect you, they remember you. Respect is one of those things everybody wants, but very few people truly understand how it works. You see, a lot of folks walk around with this idea that if they say it loud enough, if they put their foot down hard enough, if they puff their chest out and demand it, then somehow people will just bow down and give it to them. But that's not how respect works. Respect ain't a demand, it's a deposit. It's something you build, little by little, every single day, through the choices you make and the way you carry yourself when nobody's looking. The truth is, people are watching you all the time. They're watching not just what you say, but what you do. And here's the thing: people don't respect words if they don't see actions lining up with those words. You can tell everybody, I'm honest, I'm reliable, I'm trustworthy. But if you show up late to meetings, break promises, and make excuses, nobody's buying that. Respect is earned in the repetition. It's earned when people see you do what you said you do. Not once, not twice, but every single time. Consistency is what makes people trust you. Think about it like this: if somebody shows up one day being kind and encouraging, but the next day they're rude and dismissive, what happens? You don't trust that person, and if you don't trust them, you can't respect them. People respect what's predictable. When you are consistent, when people know what they're going to get from you, that's when they start to admire you. That's when they start to rely on you. And let me tell you something. Consistency ain't glamorous. It's not the stuff that gets applause or Instagram likes. It's not the big speech you gave or the one big project you nailed. No, it's in the small stuff, the daily grind, the way you keep showing up even when nobody's clapping. It's the father who gets up every morning to provide for his family, not because he's going to get an award for it, but because it's who he is. It's the leader who treats the janitor with the same respect as the CEO, not just once when the cameras are rolling, but every single day. Respect is earned when people see you stand for something and stick with it. That doesn't mean you never make mistakes. Everybody falls short. Everybody slips up. But consistency means even when you mess up, you own it, you correct it, and you keep moving forward. That's what earns respect, not perfection, but persistence. And let's be real, there are people out there who think respect is all about fear. They think if they intimidate people enough, if they scare folks into silence, that's respect. But fear fades. Fear turns into resentment. True respect lasts because it's built on trust and consistency. When people say, I know I can count on you, that's respect talking. I remember somebody once told me, people don't remember your intentions, they remember your patterns. And man, that stuck with me. Because you could have the best heart in the world, you could have the best excuses lined up, but if your pattern is to break promises, your pattern is to show up only when it's convenient, that's what people see. That's what they remember. And that's what they'll respect or not respect. The The real test of respect shows up in the hard times. When the pressure is on, when the money is tight, when the opportunities are slim, people watch to see if you still stand on your word, if you still carry yourself with integrity, if you still keep showing up. Consistency in the storm is 10 times more powerful than consistency in the sunshine, because anybody can smile and do right when things are easy. Respect is earned when you keep showing up even when life is heavy. You ever notice how the people we admire the most aren't the ones who shouted the loudest or demanded the most attention? They're the ones who lived a certain way, day in and day out, until their character spoke louder than their voice ever could. It's the grandmother who sacrificed quietly for her family. It's the teacher who showed up for 30 years and poured into kids without needing recognition. It's the coach who stayed after practice, not because they were paid to, but because they cared. That's consistency. That's respect. Now, here's the challenge. Being consistent takes discipline. It's easier to talk big than to live big. It's easier to post about values than to actually live by them. But when you commit to being the same person no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, no matter what's happening around you, people start to notice. And that's where the respect comes in. See, everybody's got a voice, but not everybody's voice carries weight. What gives your words weight is when they're backed up by a consistent life. Respect doesn't come from demanding. Listen to me. Respect comes when people say, I want to listen to you because I know you live what you're talking about. And that right there is the secret. Consistency gives your words credibility, and credibility creates respect. So if you want respect, stop asking for it, stop demanding it, and start living in a way that earns it. Be steady, be reliable. Be the person people can depend on, not sometimes, not only when it feels good, but all the time. Because at the end of the day, respect ain't about the big moments. It's about the consistent ones. You know, one of the hardest truths I had to learn in life is that people size you up before you ever open your mouth. That's just how the world works. Before they know your skills, before they know your talent, before they know how smart or hardworking you are, they notice your presence. They notice how you walk into the room, how you carry yourself, the energy you give off, the way your face speaks before your words do. And whether we like it or not, that first impression sticks in people's minds long before they give you a chance to prove what you can do. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but that ain't fair. They should respect me for my talent, for my results, for what I bring to the table. And I agree with you. It shouldn't be that way. But reality is reality. People are wired to read presence first. They don't wait for the whole story before they form an opinion. And that's why how you show up matters just as much as what you can do. Think about it. Have you ever met somebody who walked in looking sharp, standing tall, speaking with confidence, and immediately you thought, this person must know what they're doing. They hadn't shown you a RA sum A, hadn't proven a single thing yet, but their presence already had you leaning in. Now flip it. Have you ever seen someone slouch in, mumbling, avoiding eye contact, carrying themselves like they didn't belong? Even if they had talent, even if they were brilliant, you probably doubted them right away. That's not because you're mean or judgmental. It's because presence is the first signal your brain catches. Presence is about more than just appearance, though. It's about energy. When you walk in with an attitude of, I belong here, people notice. When you walk in like you've already lost, people notice that too. And let me tell you, people can smell insecurity from across the room. They can also feel confidence without a word being spoken. You don't got to be the loudest, you don't got to be the flashiest, but you do have to own your space. The way you stand, the way you shake a hand, the way you look someone in the eye, it all speaks before your mouth even opens. And those little things add up, because once people form that first impression of your presence, your talent either builds on it or fights against it. If your presence says, I'm confident, I'm reliable, I'm prepared, then your talent shines brighter when you show it. But if your presence says, I'm unsure, I'm unprepared, I don't belong, then your talent has to fight uphill to even get noticed. Let me give you a simple example. You ever go to a restaurant and the waiter comes up looking sloppy? dragging their feet, sounding like they don't want to be there. Even before you taste the food, you already think the whole experience might be bad. But if that same waiter walks up smiling, speaking with energy, standing tall, suddenly you feel like you're in good hands. Did their talent as a waiter change? No. Their presence changed how you received them. And the same thing is true in life. Whether you're walking into a job interview, a business meeting, a first date, or even just your own family gathering, people feel your presence before they hear your pitch. That's why presence is like the front door to your talent. If the front door is broken down and uninviting, people won't even step inside to see what's really there. But if the front door is open, welcoming, and strong, they'll walk in ready to discover what you've got. Now let me be real clear. Presence doesn't mean pretending to be somebody you're not. People can spot fake a mile away. Presence is about showing up as the best version of who you already are. It's about carrying yourself with dignity, speaking with clarity, and moving like your life has purpose. Because it does. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be intentional. And here's the part nobody tells you. Presence is a choice. You might not control what family you came from, what opportunities you've been given, or even the challenges you've faced. But you can control how you walk in the room. You can control whether you look people in the eye, whether you speak with belief in yourself, whether you carry an energy that says, I'm ready. That's the part that earns you respect before people even know you're RA-some-A. If you think back on the leaders you admire, I guarantee it wasn't just their talent that drew you in. It was how they showed up, the way they walked and made people sit up straighter, the way they spoke made people listen, the way they carried themselves made people say, that's somebody I can follow. Their presence created space for their talent to be seen. And here's the truth. Talent without presence often goes unnoticed, but presence without talent won't last long either. You need both. But the order matters. People see presence first. Talent comes second. And if you want the respect of others, you can't skip that step. You can't assume people will automatically recognize your greatness if you show up hiding it under self-doubt. So the next time you walk into a room, remember this: before they hear your words, before they see your results, before they test your skills, they're watching your presence. And that alone can either open the door to respect or close it before you even get a chance. There's a fine line that separates people who are respected from people who are just tolerated, and that line is the balance between confidence and humility. You see, confidence is necessary because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. But if all you have is confidence with no humility, then what you really have is arrogance. And nobody respects arrogance for long. On the other hand, if you've got humility with no confidence, you shrink yourself so small that people overlook you. And that doesn't earn respect either. Respect lives in that balance where confidence and humility walk side by side. Confidence is that voice inside you that says, I can do this. I belong here. It's the way you stand up straight, the way you speak without shaking, the way you carry yourself like your presence has value. Without confidence, you sell yourself short. People sense when you don't believe in yourself, and if you don't, they won't either. Humility, though, is the anchor. It's the reminder that no matter how much you achieve, no matter how much talent you've got, you're not better than anybody else. Humility makes sure your confidence doesn't turn into entitlement. The problem is a lot of people lean too far one way or the other. Some folks walk into every room thinking they're the smartest person there, acting like they don't need advice, they don't need growth, they don't need anybody else. They brag, they talk over others, they make it all about them. That's arrogance. And while it might intimidate some people in the moment, it doesn't earn true respect. Because deep down, people don't admire arrogance, they endure it. They might clap for you in public, but behind closed doors, they're waiting for your downfall. Then you got the other side. People who are so humble, so quiet, so reserved, that they start to disappear in the background. They think humility means never speaking up, never showing what they're capable of, always downplaying their gifts. But when you do that, you send the message that you don't believe in yourself. And if you don't stand up for your own value, nobody else will either. Humility without confidence turns into weakness, and weakness does not earn respect. So the real power comes when you know how to carry both. Imagine a leader who is confident enough to make decisions to inspire others, to speak boldly, but humble enough to listen, to admit mistakes, to give credit where it's due. That's the kind of leader people respect. They don't just follow because they have to, they follow because they want to. That balance is magnetic. Confidence without humility might get you attention, but it won't get you loyalty. Humility without confidence might make you liked, but it won't make you respected. Together, though, they create a presence that commands respect and keeps it. I'll tell you this, confidence is like the gas in your car, and humility is like the steering wheel. Gas alone will take you somewhere fast, but without a steering wheel, you're going to crash. A steering wheel without gas won't get you moving. But when you've got both, you're in control, you're moving forward, and you're heading in the right direction. That's what people respect. Somebody who knows where they're going, but also knows they don't know everything. Think about the people you admire most. The ones who stand out in your memory are usually the ones who had incredible confidence, but carried it with grace. They didn't need to tell you they were great. You could feel it. And yet, when you talk to them, they made you feel important. They made you feel seen. That's humility. They had enough confidence to shine, but enough humility to let others shine too. That's the sweet spot. Now, don't get me wrong, finding this balance is not easy. Life has a way of testing both sides of you. There are times when you'll want to puff your chest out and prove everybody wrong, and times when you want to shrink back because you're afraid to fail. But if you remember that arrogance closes doors and weakness keeps them locked, then you understand why respect comes only when you walk the middle path. Let me break it down this way. People respect those who know their worth without demeaning others. They respect those who can say, yes, I've got talent, but I also know I didn't get here alone. They respect those who have the courage to speak up, but the wisdom to stay quiet when it's someone else's turn. That's not something you fake, it's something you practice. And practice starts in the small moments. Confidence shows up when you raise your hand in that meeting. Humility shows up when you give credit to your teammate instead of taking it all yourself. Confidence is walking into the room like you belong. Humility is greeting the janitor with the same warmth you give the CEO. People notice these little things, and over time, they build respect for you. So when you think about the kind of person you want to be, don't choose between confidence and humility. Choose both. Show the world that you believe in yourself, but show the world too that you respect others, that you're still learning, that you don't have all the answers. Because at the end of the day, people don't just respect talent, they respect character. And character is built in that balance between standing tall and bowing low, between knowing your worth and knowing the worth of everyone around you. Most people think respect comes from how well you speak, how strong your words are, how loud your voice can be in the room. And while words do matter, the real truth is that people are far more impressed by how well you listen than by how well you talk. Talking loudly might get you attention for a moment, but listening deeply earns you respect for a lifetime. Because when you really listen to somebody, when you put away your distractions and give them your full presence, what you're telling them is, you matter. Your words count. Your feelings count. And that is something people never forget. Now, I don't mean listening like nodding your head while you're already thinking of your comeback. That's not listening. That's waiting for your turn. I'm talking about the kind of listening where you quiet yourself down, you lean in, you ask questions, you make the other person feel like they're the only one in the room. That's the kind of listening that builds trust. And trust is the foundation of respect. The truth is, most people don't feel heard in their daily lives. They go to work and their boss talks over them. They go home and their spouse is half listening while scrolling on the phone. They share something vulnerable and the other person interrupts with, yeah, me too. After a while, people get tired of that. They stop opening up. They stop believing their voice matters. But when somebody actually listens, really listens, it stands out. It feels rare. It feels valuable. And respect grows instantly. You ever notice how some of the most powerful leaders, the ones who carry true respect, don't always talk the most? They don't need to. They let other people speak and they pay attention. They ask questions that make others feel important. And when they finally do open their mouths, people listen because they've already shown they value others' voices. That's the power of listening deeply. Talking loudly might win you an argument, but it won't win you admiration. Think about it. How many people do you know who always got to be the center of attention, always cutting folks off, always raising their voice like volume equals wisdom? Do you really respect them, or do you just tolerate them? Most of the time, people walk away rolling their eyes, saying they don't hear anybody but themselves.